treating his knee, and we're just treating for pain. That's why we decided to do some IFC. Okay, so I'm going to take that and wipe down larger than the area. So I'm going to actually place a pad here, 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 and here. So I'm going to wipe down an area that's slightly larger than where I'm going to place the pads. Okay, nice and wiped down. If I was worried about the hair, I might trim, but I'm not terribly worried, so I'm not going to. That's a pretty big area, right? So do you think I want to use my large rectangle pads or my small square pads? Rectangle pads, okay? He's already got those ones out. Fantastic. And because I'm doing IFC, I'm going to make sure, well, I'll talk about that here in a second. So, put one there. Brand new pads, they're beautiful.
Now the great thing, you guys, when you're doing pain relief and you start the machine, if they're not getting the relief they want or they're not feeling it in the area that you were hoping to have it, what can you do? Move the pads. It's a glorious thing.
Change that pad, please.
You know, don't be afraid
Nobody
to
says you
move them
can't.
around if you need to.
This is something we could do for ourselves.
Okay, so I've got my pad placement, right? Got my 4 pads. Now, because it's IFC, I have to make sure that the wires do something. What is that? They've got to cross, right?
Remember how I showed you the pictures of the channels? So channel 1 will go one direction, channel 2 will go the next way, so that the current is interfering.
So I get my channels out and ready. Got channel 1 and channel 2. So channel 1, we're going to place, doesn't matter, one of them up here, and I'm going to cross diagonally to the other one.
Is red positive, black?
Yes. On this one, red is positive, black is negative. There
But
is a
since
machine.
it's an alternating current, it doesn't matter for IFC.
Yeah. Okay, and so then I can put black and black on the same side. I can put red and black on the same side. It doesn't really matter. When it comes to ACP machines, then you can play around with it a little bit, and it can matter, but for the most part, it doesn't matter at all. Okay. So there we go. I'm all set up. On the machine here, this one, there's a nice, I don't know how many of you can see that, or
If you need to come up, come up.
yeah, if you need to come up, feel free to
I
do so.
encourage you to come.
But on this one, there's a bunch of different options. So we've got electrotherapy, ultrasound. We can view and edit the different channels. We can select a different channel, combination, and then patient card, which on this machine and some others, you can actually have a specific card that holds a bunch of different patients. So if you play around with what's already set on the machine, you can save it as that patient for that specific treatment. Put the plug in.
Guys, I'm a jerk face. If you pick preset, I'm not gonna be real happy with you. So I want you to go in and open each one, select what it should be for that stem. If it happens to correspond to a preset, you best be able to explain it all.
Yes, so this is where the card would go. Anyway, I'm gonna hit electrotherapy. There's all my different types of electrotherapy. IFC, high volt, pre-mod, microcurrent, Russian, and symmetrical biphasic. Okay, I'm doing IFC, so I hit IFC. So now Susan says that she wants you to go into,
Because I'm a jerk face.
because she's a jerk face. So in this case, you would go into edit, and it can tell you, or you can change the low beat, the high beat, the carrier frequency, and then the vector and sweep. Vector and sweep are pretty awesome little options on machines. Not every machine has them, but a lot of the new ones do. Okay, vector and sweep. So sweep just means that the current will kind of do this all the way through all of the pads. So when I turn it on, at first Jake will probably feel it in one of the pads. I don't know which one, but he'll feel it in one of them at first. And as long as sweep is on, he'll feel it kind of move from pad to pad, and it'll just kind of sweep around that area. Okay, vector, you can change. can say manual or vector of 45 degrees, or you can adjust it so that it's higher or lower than that. And essentially what happens is you've got your normal vector between all four pads like this, okay? And then it changes the amount of sweep that occurs. Instead of going through all of it, just kind of sweeping all over like this, then you can have that vector be just small. You can have it be a little bit bigger. Go 90 degrees, so it goes full like this. You can just go 45 degrees, so it just kind of bounces around like this. So it's pretty awesome, the things that you can play with on a lot of these machines. Okay, we'll actually, the automatic settings for 40 and 100% or off. We'll just do off for right now. So let's say I've got it all set the way that I want to, and I'm good with that. So I'm gonna hit back, and then the first thing.
Back button?
Yes, that's the back button. Then the next thing I want to do is start to turn it up, but I missed a step.
You forgot to check.
Forgot to check sensation.
Informed consent.
Oh.
What are these doing on my leg?
What are these? Right. Okay. But I didn't check sensation. I haven't pushed start or started pushing the current through them yet. So in my mind, I'm still okay. So in that case, I would just say, Jake, if you wouldn't mind turning your head for me, just let me know if you can feel this. Can you feel this?
I can, yes.
Can you feel that?
Mm-hmm.
Can you feel that?
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic. There we go. Good enough. Okay.
If they can't, would you not?
If they can't, I might change the way that I'm applying pressure or testing that sensation to see if we even get anything. If he's not getting anything, I might stop and not apply this, okay? But he's good. So now this is how I turn up my intensity. Thank you. Okay. This goes very slow, so he's probably not feeling anything, and he's probably not going to say that he feels anything until we get probably close to 4. No. Okay. The next number a lot of people don't feel anything until is about 8.
You're gonna be one of those guys, aren't you?
No.
You're one of
He's going up
those.
to
Oh, now I
like
feel it.
40 or
Now.
Okay, so he's got 11 there, and he's starting to feel something. I say, okay, great. So that's what it's going to feel like throughout the entire treatment, but we're going to increase the intensity because we want it to be a strong feeling, but not so strong that it hurts or is uncomfortable. Okay, so I'm going to start turning it up, and just let me know when we kind of get to that threshold.
Threshold between discomfort and comfort?
Yeah, so if, again, I want it to be a nice, strong intensity or current going through there, but I don't want it to be uncomfortable because you're going to be sitting with it for about 20 minutes. Okay?
Whoa,
Oh my god. Wow.
All right, so now we're starting to see that. And he may say that he can tolerate that. I'm
yeah, I mean, it
like
doesn't hurt. I'm just like,
I'm right on one of the
Yeah,
receptors
he's on
there.
your point. But if our goal is not muscle contraction,
Yeah.
and we
yeah,
just
that
want
was nice.
sensation,
Yeah.
back it down.
Little leg workout.
So like Susan said, if our goal isn't to get muscle contraction or anything like that, then I'm going to back off. As long as he can still feel it, it's still having its effects.
Was that at
Okay?
14 when it did that?
I think so.
14.5.
Okay. So we back down to 13. We're getting a little twitch, but it's not that much, so I'm not too worried about it. Think you can handle that for 20
Oh,
minutes?
yeah. It's just an interesting feeling. I'm feeling it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so once I hit start, it's probably going to go away for a split second. It'll come back, and then you're going to start feeling it kind of moving around a little bit.
Remember how I talked with interferential where there's going to be a period where it kind of rises and falls, and that's because of the interference of the currents. Remember, when the amplitudes are totally in sync, it's going to double in intensity. When they're totally out of sync, they're going to negate each other. So that's when the patient doesn't feel it. When they're somewhere in between, that's that rise or that fall. Okay, so it's going to kind of come and go, Okay.
Okay, so after probably about 5 minutes, he may get used to and kind of acclimate to the feeling of it, and he may even call us over if we're not already sitting there and say, hey, I'm not really feeling anything anymore. Here's the thing, if we want to, we can turn it up. That's fine. Just watch for the contraction. If we don't want that, then we don't get that. We don't go so high that we start getting a contraction. But it doesn't mean it isn't working. That's the number one thing that I always tell my patients. They'll be like, it doesn't feel like it's as strong. Guess what? It's still working. I'll turn it up just a little bit, but I don't want to go too high because I don't want to make it uncomfortable or anything like that. Don't worry, it is still working. You're going to still get those effects. Okay? So that's a simple example of IFC.
Is 13 pretty high for an IFC, or is that like around
Yeah.
normal-ish?
That's probably pretty normal. Honestly, there isn't
no
a
competition
normal
of
or
numbers.
yeah. I mean, you'll have patients all the time, and they're normally guys, at least in
Wanna
my
be higher.
experience. They're like, "What are they set at?"
Yeah.
Well, they're like a 15. Oh, what am I at? I'm at you're like a 12. Oh, I can go higher.
Yeah, or, but I was at 15 last
Yeah,
time.
yeah. Get that a lot
Does
too.
not matter.
Yeah. Different machine, different pad placement. We're not getting in the exact same
Different
area every time. Different pad, like
Who cares?
all sorts of stuff happens. So, yeah, there is no like norm or anything like that.
Hey, Johnny,